Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Good afternoon and good evening. Good afternoon in Bulgaria and good evening in Nepal. Today we have a match between two teams. We are in the day 2 of the group phase. It means second match for one team, and it is the first of the two match for the other team. So today we have a team who is in Bulgaria, the one representing Sofia University, and we have one team from Nepal, Kathmandu University, who is of course represented as well by two students, so two students from each side for today. These two teams, in the group phase of the Hague Inter-University Debate Tournament, received a topic 7 days ago, a topic which is of course connected to the general theme of this competition, and they don't know yet which position they will have, but they have spent a week to prepare both positions in favor and against. They will be assessed by three judges who do not know each other, but will be watching the match. So greetings to the three of them in Europe, in South America, and in Africa. So now we'll give you, of course, the opportunity, dear students, to introduce yourself as you are the ones who will be debating. So I will start, of course, with one student from Sofia and another student from Kathmandu. So Miss Angelova, could you introduce yourself, please?
Of course. Good evening, everyone. My name is Maya. I'm in my second year of law school, and today I'll be representing Sofia University in our match. And I'm looking forward to our debate today.
Thank you, and welcome. We have as well in Kathmandu Miss Shiksha Adhikari. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Me, Siksha Adhikari, representing Kathmandu University School of Law, and I'm currently a third-year student.
Thank you and welcome. We have back now in Sofia Miss Teresa Mkarchian.
Hi, I'm Teresa from Sofia University, first year student, and thank you for this opportunity.
Welcome and many thanks. And we have now back in Kathmandu Priyadarshani Kanal. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Priyadarshani Khanal. I'm representing Kathmandu University School of Law. I'm currently studying in third year of my college.
Thank you and welcome. We have present as well the coach, as I can see. We have two coaches on the side of the university in Bulgaria, Sofia University, Mr. Martin Kyushukov, who is a former participant. Could you say a few words, maybe, Mr. Kyushukov?
Hello, everyone. I'm very thankful for this opportunity to come once again, not as a competitor, but as a coach, and I'm looking forward to this great debate.
Thank you very much. And we have as well another participant from 2 years ago, Miss Sofia Donskaya. Welcome.
Hi there, everyone. I'm so happy to see that this competition is flourishing and, like for the third time here. And I'm very happy that there are many participants who are interested in this competition. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, and welcome back as a coach, indeed. On the side of Kathmandu University, we have as well a coach, Padma Rijal. Welcome.
Thank you, everyone. I'm looking forward for this wonderful experience and hoping for the mutual learning, and all the best for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mentioned as well that there is a second coach who is not in the room with a former participant, Diksha Dital. So many thanks and greetings as well to the second coach from Kathmandu University. So as I mentioned, you prepared a topic. This topic is International Environmental Treaties infringe on national sovereignty, hindering effective environment management. So now, of course, we'll move to the allocation of positions. So for this reason, I will share my screen so all of you will be able to see the wheel with the name of your universities and the two possible positions. Up. So normally you should all see, and as well on YouTube, the wheel with two positions possible for each institution to be in favor or to be against. So we'll activate the wheel and we'll know which position each team will have, knowing that the team in favor will be starting the match with the introduction. So here it says that Sofia University will be in favor of the motion, and as a consequence, Kathmandu University will be against the motion. So it means concretely that Sofia University will be starting the match because it is always the team in favor who starts the match, will be defending the position that international environmental treaties infringe on national sovereignty, hindering effective environmental management, while Kathmandu University will defend the position that international environmental treaties do not infringe on national sovereignty, hindering effective environmental management. So, you have 5 minutes now to review your notes based on your research, of course, and this result of allocation of positions. And in 5 minutes, we listen to Sofia University. Voila. So we are done with 5 minutes of preparation. We'll be able to start the match. So I will ask the team, indeed, the student will be starting on the side of Sofia University. So you are ready, I can see. Making full screen so all your friends can see you. So now I would like to give the floor to the team of Sofia University for the introduction. You have 4 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to the fellow judges and to my colleagues from Kathmandu University. On behalf of myself and my teammate Teresa, we're very pleased to discuss this topic with you. Today, we will be arguing that international environmental treaties infringe on national sovereignty, hindering effective environmental management. We will present 3 main arguments. Firstly, we'll argue that international environmental treaties reduce the flexibility of states. Our second argument will be that they result in counterproductivity. Lastly, we'll argue that those treaties are quite problematic for developing countries. The principle of sovereignty is enshrined in Article 2 of the UN Charter, and it provides the authority for states to govern their own interests, determine policies, and lay down their own laws. More importantly, it gives the right to sign international treaties, which means that they should adhere to certain terms and conditions. At the same time, as established by the International Court of Justice in the legality of the threat of use of nuclear weapons advisory opinion, states have the obligation to ensure that activities within their jurisdiction respect the environment of other states. This clash of obligation leads to ineffectiveness of global environmental management. Moving on to our first argument, we believe that international environmental treaties reduce the flexibility of states when emergent measures need to be taken. International environmental treaties can limit a nation's flexibility in responding to changing environmental conditions, thus preventing them from the necessary actions that need to be taken in case of an emergency. At the same time, as established in the Trail Smelter Arbitration, states have an obligation to not cause transboundary environmental pollution. And in light of those two obligations, states would need to decide whether to comply with the provisions of an agreement that they have concluded or to take the measures required. We would like to point to your attention the myriad cases when the states had to make that decision. For example, in the pulp mills case, the ICJ examined whether Uruguay had breached its obligations under 1975 statutes authorizing the constructions of pulp mills near the river of Uruguay. The existence of that agreement limited the flexibility of Uruguay, leading to unilateral decisions in respect to the management of the river's resources. Another example is the Lac Lono arbitration between France and Spain. In this case, the French government proposed to carry out certain works for the utilization of the waters of Lac Lono. The Spanish government feared that these works would adversely affect their rights and interests, contrary to the Treaty of Bayonne. The French government, however, while accepting the principle that waters drowned off should be returned, regarded itself as bound only to return a quantity of water corresponding to the actual needs of Spanish users. Those cases highlighted the importance of states adhering to their treaty obligations, especially when addressing environmental issues. This loss of flexibility can hinder a country's ability to adapt its strategies and policies according to its specific needs and circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we hear the introduction by the team from Kathmandu University. You have 4 minutes.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so I'd like to start my time, supporting my stance against the motion that international environmental treaties do not infringe on national sovereignty and also does not hindering effective environmental management. I'd like to say that sovereignty is not absolute but is subject to international law and norms, particularly in areas such as environmental protection and securities, supporting with my three arguments. First, international treaties are made to make the world with a better environment rather than the motive to suppress the sovereignty of the state. Second, countries are least concerned about the sovereignty when it's the matter of the serious issue of the environment protection. And the third, it do not infringe the sovereignty, instead helps in the effective management of the environment protection. First argument, Article 4 of the UNFCCC acknowledges that developing countries require the financial resources and technologies to achieve the sustainable development. From a north-south perspective, there is a duty of industrialized country to assist the developing countries in protecting the global environment. This highlights a shared responsibility among the nations to address the environmental challenge collectively, regardless of the economic status. Moving toward my second argument, that the countries are least concerned about the sovereignty when it's the serious matter of the environment protection. Treaties like Ozone Layer Convention hope the policymakers would adopt the measures to combat those activities responsible for ozone depletion. The countries involved meet once every 3 years to make the decision on important issues, including on the research and the systematic observation, as well as the financial administrative matter. Despite being this flexible, how can one say it infringes on the sovereignty of the state on such a serious matter that is aimed to be protected by the international instruments? Similarly, the Paris Agreement allows the country to independently submit the report on the emission reduction, giving them the freedom to determine how much emission they will cut. This shows that the country can exercise their sovereignty freely with the agreement, supporting that the idea the treaty do not violate the national sovereignty. Secondly, it helps in the effective management. For example, the Aarhus Convention play a crucial role on empowering the public and enhancing the transparency in addressing the environmental change by facilitating access to the information, encouraging the public participation, and fostering the collaboration with the non-governmental organization. These instruments contribute to the effective implementation of the environmental protection measures outlined by the UNFCCC. And sincerely, it helps on the effective management of the environmental protection of the nation itself. In conclusion, I would like to say that international treaties fosters the cooperation among the nations to address the global environmental challenge collectively without infringing on a national sovereignty. The treaties such as UN Charter and the 1970 Declaration on Principle of International Law establish the duty of the state to cooperate in solving environmental problems. Therefore, international environmental treaties serve as essential for promoting and collaborating and ensuring the protection of our planet for the future generation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move to the rebuttals. So with the first rebuttals, I would like to give first the floor to Sofia University. You have 2 minutes.
I would first like to go over first argument of opposition. Cooperation between countries is not too easy to achieve. It usually comes with a lot of problems that slow down the solution of environmental problems. And please note that nowadays environmental issues need immediate reaction. The biggest issue with international environmental treaties is that there is a need for agreement between all of the states. The competing interests of the countries can make cooperation difficult, as some countries prioritize their own economic goals over environmental consideration. Moving to our second argument, we believe that international environment treaties cause counterproductivity. For reference, we rely on the Kyoto Protocol from 1997, aimed to reduce the emission of gases. The protocol, which contributes to global warming, focuses on specific emission targets only for the developed countries. Dear judges, this results in a lack of meaningful commitments from major emerging economies such as China and India, and by many this treaty is seen as unsuccessful. The treaty illustrates perfectly how developing countries disregard the obligation of environmental treaties because they are too high to achieve. This, of course, is understandable because many countries are still relying on coal and petrol for their industry. Many international environment treaties are not still flexible enough to accommodate their countries' standards and potential. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we hear as well the first rebuttal on the side of Kathmandu University. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so I would like to start my time. So, as a final speaker from the opposition, I would like to firmly restate that our stance that it is unequivocal that international environmental treaties stand as a bedrock of our global effort to combat the looming crisis threatening our planet. These treaties are not just mere documents, they are the shield we wield against the onslaught of environmental degradation and ecological collapse. By ratifying international treaties, nations willingly bind themselves to the sacred duty of preserving our natural heritage, signaling a resolute commitment to upholding the highest of the standards of environmental stewardship. These treaties are the bastion of hopes, fortifying our resolve to safeguard the fragile ecosystem upon which all the life depends. International treaties serve as a beacon of collaboration, illuminating the path towards a sustainable future. The argument proposed by the proposition that international environment treaties infringes upon sovereignty is effectively rebutted by the Paris Agreement mentioned earlier by my first speaker, a cornerstone of contemporary environmental law. The Paris Agreement exemplifies a delicate balance between collective action and national sovereignty, wherein participating countries commit to collaborative efforts in combating climate change while retaining autonomy in implementing their own strategies. Thus, far from encroaching upon sovereignty, the Paris Agreement serves as a testament ability and it provides freedom and ensures the sovereignty at all expenses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we move to the second rebuttal. I would like to give the floor to Sofia University for your second rebuttal. You have 2 minutes.
Okay. Addressing the argumentation of the opposition, we would like to point out that there are often disagreements over scientific evidence, the risk of and time management, and potential solutions between the countries. Moreover, the political considerations, including the different domestic interests and power dynamics, can complicate the cooperation between countries on environmental agreements. I will now focus on our last argument. Those treaties are quite problematic for developing countries for a few reasons. First of all, environmental treaties burden developing countries with responsibilities for addressing global environmental challenges such as climate change or biodiversity loss. At the same time, developed countries, which historically have contributed more to environmental degradation, do not bear their fair share of responsibility. For instance, the US, which has ratified the Basel Declaration, used to send waste to Côte d'Ivoire, circumventing their obligations. Secondly, developing countries often lack the financial resources and clean technologies needed to comply with the obligations set in those treaties. Sure, treaties may include provisions for financial assistance to help developing countries meet their commitments, but the actual implementations of those measures may be insufficient or just inadequate. Lastly, restrictions on the export of certain products or resources due to environmental concerns could limit market access and also hinder economic growth in developing countries. This holds true particularly for those countries which are heavily reliant on export revenues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we hear the second rebuttal from the team from Kathmandu University. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, may I start?
Yes.
The argument that treaties divert attention from resources away from the alternative approach. Let us be clear, there is no greater priority than preservation of our planet's ecological integrity. We cannot afford to waver in our commitment to the treaty-based solutions, for they represent our last line of defense against ecological catastrophe. The concerns of domestication, the borders. Let us be clear, when we ourselves cannot protect the homes of thousands, the planet Earth, because of the environmental degradation, what will we do when we protect the borders, when border itself will not sustain because the environment will impact in a way that there will be no existence of borders. We are fighting over the concerns that it is discriminatory to the developing and developed nations, but here it's not about the concern of who is more developed, which country is less developed. It's more about how we come together as one for the better development in the concerns of environment, to protect the land that we live in. Environmental problem transcends the political boundary. Ecology does not have a boundary. Nature does not understand the boundary. Nature does not understand the sovereignty. What it understands is it needs to be protected at all costs, and that all cost is indeed the international treaties that binds the nation into following a certain protocol which will eventually protect the nation and the earth as a whole. Let us look at the bigger picture, because it's planet earth, and then it is nations, and then it is sovereignty. Lastly, in conclusion, international environmental treaties transcend mere policy instrument. They are vital pillars of our shared existence on this planet, serving as a beacon of hope amidst the daunting ecological challenges. Through their provisions and mechanisms, they foster cooperation, mobilize resources, and inspire collective gain. Thereafter, it is indeed important to have international treaties to bind the realm of environmental law. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we hear the conclusions. So we start with the conclusion on the side of Sofia University. You have 2 minutes.
We would first like to thank the opposing side for their statement. Throughout the course of this debate, we have demonstrated that international environment treaties infringe on the national sovereignty, hindering effective environmental management. Firstly, we address the reduced flexibility of states through the trials method and lack of arbitration. When immigrant measures need to be taken, international environment treaties can limit a nation's flexibility in responding to the changing ecological condition. Secondly, we pointed that international environment treaties pose counterproductivity. Treaties concentrate on searching for arbitration, results which lead to lack of meaningful commitment from developing countries, while relied on the Kyoto Protocol from 1997 to show that a lot of the goals in these treaties are too high to achieve, which is states do not follow the obligations. Lastly, international environment treaties are problematic for developing countries. When it comes to more developed countries, they don't have the fair share of responsibility, even though they contribute more to environmental degradation. Most of the time, developing countries lack the financial resources and clean technology to comply with the obligation of treaties. Even more, restriction of the export of the certain resources due to environmental concerns can hinder economic growth in developing countries. We have clearly demonstrated through our argument that international environmental treaties do not value the individuality of each state, and setting common obligation hinder the effective environmental management. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll hear as well now the conclusion from the team from Kathmandu University. You have 2 minutes.
May I start?
Yeah, we can start.
So it indeed does not infringes, moving back to the stance proposed by my first speaker, international treaties serves as a beacon of collaboration, illuminating the path towards sustainable future through the exchange of technology, and resources. They compel nations to transcend borders and ideologies, united in a common cause against the existential threat posed by the climate change and biodiversity loss. By ratifying these treaties, the nation willingly bind themselves, themselves into a sacred duty of preserving our natural heritage, the Mother Earth, the land that we sustain and live on, signaling a resolute commitment of upholding the highest standards of environment that we live in. Far from encroaching upon sovereignty, these treaties helps us to gain a collaborative efforts in combating the climate change while retaining autonomy in implementing their own strategies. Furthermore, through their provisions and mechanisms, they foster cooperation, mobilize resources, and inspire collective action to address the urgent threat facing our environment. As we stand a critical juncture in history, it is imperative that we recognize the indispensable role of these treaties in safeguarding our planet for future generation. To ignore or to undermine them is to jeopardize not only our own survival, but the countless species and ecosystem worldwide. Thus, we must reaffirm our commitment to these treaties and work tirelessly to strengthen and enforce them, for they hold the key to securing a sustainable and prosperous future for all. We do not speak for the nation or sovereignty here. We speak for the existence of not just humans, but the billions and millions of species residing inside the Mother Earth, and it is our utmost responsibility to protect them, and the utmost measure to protect these are international treaties. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We heard the two conclusions, so it means from now you are not anymore under evaluation by the judge, so you can relax. So now we are after the match, and of course it is the moment when we will collect the impressions from the side of the participants, the debaters, and as well from the coach who are in the rooms. So yes, you can of course open your camera. The match is done now. And it's just about getting your impressions, and afterwards we'll be doing a bit of networking between the two teams. So one thing that indeed was interesting to know concerning this match is that 2 years ago as well there was a match between Sofia University and Kathmandu University in this competition. So it's totally by chance, of course, that you are in the same group this year, and of course that reminds a lot of good memories as well from the match of 2 years ago, where the coach, some of the coach were participants 2 years ago actually. So now I will give the floor to Miss Angelova. What did you think about this match? How did you prepare it? And as well, what did you hear maybe in the argumentation from the other team you might have found maybe in your own research possibly?
Well, I would like to start off by saying that I thought the topic was very interesting, but the research process was a bit hard, in a good way. I personally heard some of the arguments that we had prepared for the opposition from the Kathmandu team, so maybe we were on the same page when preparing.
Okay, thank you very much. Miss Adikari, what did you think about the match, the topic, the argumentation from the other team as well?
Despite being on a board exams pressure, it was really hard for us to prepare this debate, but we really enjoyed it. And it's always fun to have a debate, and it was really good.
Thank you very much. Miss M. Kirchian, what did you think about the match and as well the preparation eventually?
I think we all enjoyed this match. About our proposition, it's a little bit hard, little bit interesting, but we have good coaches who help us share their knowledges. So I think we have good.
Okay. Do you have, I would say, environmental law in your studies eventually?
Sorry?
Did you have already environmental law in your studies?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So I hope it helps. Same question as well for Miss Canal. How did you find the preparation as well? Did you have already environmental law in your studies? That could have helped maybe this preparation.
Unfortunately, it's right after this semester we'll be studying environmental law. So until now we have not studied it. So yeah, but it was fun researching and all the resources we could get from our coach and from our university. So yeah, it was a fun experience, but unfortunately we have not studied it yet, but there is indeed a course named environmental law itself in the next semester.
Okay,
We'll be
okay.
studying it.
Very good, very good. So it's a good, I would say, introduction before the course. Now a question for the coach, Mr. Kuchukov. What did you think about the match?
So, hello everyone. I think that especially being the first match of this team, because we didn't have a match on day one, I think that it was a great experience for them to get used to the format of this debate, and I think that moving forward we will have even more experience and knowledge that we can share with everyone.
Thank you, perfect. Thank you very much. On the side of Kathmandu, before going, of course, back to Miss Donskaya, but Professor Rijal, what did you think about the match?
Hi. Yes, the match was very engaging, and it was my pleasure to coach the team. And I'm also the environmental law teacher in the university, so I taught them whatever environmental law they could understand in a week. But yes, they are very pretty good learners, and yes, the other teams they performed well. So the case examples was good. So on the research part, both teams were pretty much on the line from the environmental law perspective, and I hope the outcome will be very exciting, and I'm waiting for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now moving back indeed into Bulgaria with Miss Donskaya. What did you think about this match as well?
Well, hi again to everyone. I think my co-coach summarized it pretty nicely. You know, it's our first match for this year, and I think all of us were very, very excited about it. I'm very glad that it was with Kathmandu, just because you know it brings back memories from 2 years ago, just as you mentioned, and I thought it was really, you know, a fun and memorable experience for all of us. So yeah, I'm very glad that it happened this way. And unfortunately, in our university, actually, the environmental law is not taught as a subject. It's rather like part of the public international law discipline. So unfortunately, we don't get that deep into the matter of environmental law. But I think the girls did a great job by researching, and yeah, I'm very proud of them.
Thank you very much. I think indeed, if I remember well, I'm not sure, but I think 2 years ago, when you were debating against one of the coach of the team from Kathmandu of this current year. I think it was Miss Digital was in the team, if I'm not wrong, of course. But yes, that was 2 years ago when I was much younger, of course. Now we'll move to the last part, which is about, of course, collecting a bit of, I would say, cultural aspects as well, and information. So, as you mentioned, it is the first match for Sofia University. I would like to ask Miss Angelova and Miss Mkartchan, first of all, to introduce your university. So could you tell a few words concerning your university, what is possible to study, and yes, how many students as well eventually?
Well, our university is the oldest and the biggest in Bulgaria, especially in the law faculty. We are about 400 students, which is for our country, that's a lot. And yeah, our university has a history of performing well in international competitions regarding law, and yeah, we want to continue that tradition.
Okay, very good. I will give the same question as well. Of course, how would you present Kathmandu University? For example, how many students are studying law in Kathmandu University? Miss Adikari or Miss Kanal? Could you tell?
So, Kathmandu University School of Law is one of the part of the Kathmandu University. So, it was recently established on 2014, but it has the I think, according to my opinion, it has the best education on law, as it present the course business Bachelor on Business Management and Law, BBM LLB. So I do not know exactly how many students are here, but on each semester there are about 45 students, and up to 10th semester we got to study here, and it is very. I think, according to my perspective, it is the best law school in Nepal currently, and I'm blessed to be here.
Okay, very good. Could you explain in Nepal how to become a lawyer?
So it's quite similar to every other country. So basically, we have to firstly get a bachelor's or undergraduate degree of law, and then we have to go for the bar exams. So after we pass the bar exams, we officially get a license to be an advocate, to litigate, to open a firm. Uh, and secondly, we can have any bachelor's degree that might any undergraduate degree, either it's law or any other degree, and then we can still get a LLB degree, which is of 3 years. So even after that, we can go for the bar exams, and then we pass it, we get the license, and we can be registered as an advocate. So yeah, this is how it's quite flexible in a way, because if someone has not persuaded a degree of law firstly in their undergraduate, they can still go for it. They can change the mind, because it's never too late to go for a new chapter of life, start new thing again. So yeah, it's quite flexible yet a little hectic, to call it so. So yeah, this is it.
Okay, I think indeed it's a bit like in UK because you can indeed have another degree before starting law eventually, or you can study law from scratch. Same question in Bulgaria. How do you become a lawyer in Bulgaria?
It's a kind of a long process. First of all, you go to university for 5 years, and you get a master's degree in law, but you're not still a lawyer. You need to go over the board exams in public law, private law. Then, if you want to have a particular position like a judge or attorney, you need to have another exam again to qualify for that. And basically, whenever you want to have a position, even as just an attorney, you need to pass.
Okay.
I would say, yeah.
Okay. And do you have to do an internship or with a law firm or not at all?
We have no, we don't need to do internships at some at law, but we have they take us to some institutions like courts for a few months.
Okay.
Maybe I can also elaborate a little bit more
Yeah.
on the matter, just because the girls are first and second year. So basically, we do have internships that we have to pass in each of the fields that we have at the end of the exams on law school, which are also important. And then we have one additional exam just to allow us for litigation process, and then we have another exam that is for practicing, as Maya said, like lawyer or judge or prosecutor. So basically, yeah, it's a very long process. And unfortunately, now when Kathmandu were telling about how it is in Nepal, in our country, we cannot go for bachelor's at all, like because of the fact that the law is a regulated profession. You have to pursue masters from the start, so it takes like 5 years. So I think it's very different, and it's very interesting how the things are different. Yeah.
I think the system in Bulgaria is a bit similar than in Germany. In Germany, indeed, it's 5 years of state exams, but as well there are different internships to do before becoming a lawyer. While in Nepal, which is normal, the influence is way more from UK, where indeed there are different tracks and you can become lawyer practicing or after finishing studies. So yes, this influence, of course, these are of different systems than the French one, for example, very different. So, but I heard from people who are from those countries as well. Finally, last question: how is the student life in Nepal? What are the, I would say, extracurricular activities you can do next to your studies? So, for example, I guess indeed you can debate, you can do mooting, but what are the other activities you can do next to your studies, law studies?
So in Nepal, we can obviously participate on debate, and our School of Law is very forward on participating on moot programs, and we can also pursue the internship while we are reading. So while we are here at our bachelor's degree undergraduate program, we can also pursue our internship side by side. So that's really fruitful for us to learning by doing. So that's the thing.
Okay.
And it's really fun as a student.
Okay, very good. Okay, and in Bulgaria, what are the other activities you can do next to your studies connected to law? Of course, you can do an internship, you can do mooting, you can do, I don't know, a legal clinic or other things like this.
Oh, yes, we do have internships and mooting. We also have this program Erasmus, which is like student exchange. So we have the opportunity to go to other countries for, I think it's 6 months, and study in their law universities. And yeah, I think the rest is practically the same as the Nepal team mentioned, just that we cannot do, just because we don't have undergraduate program, we have only one program, which is 5 years. It's only one way, it's straightforward studying.
Yes. So, okay.
And I
very-
want to add,
Yes.
if I can, that very dynamic here student life, and the education is very good. So I am Armenian, but I chose Sofia University to get a well education because it's one of the best in Europe. So here life is so dynamic. You have a very many opportunities. So very interesting and good life you can have in Sofia University in Bulgaria.
Okay, thank you very much. I know that the two universities, I mean Kathmandu University and Sofia University, are pretty renowned in the regions, in the different regions where they are, and of course students from other countries come to study as well in the universities where you are studying. So it's of course good as well for the job market, for the law firms, and as well for the international aspect of your studies. So now we are done with this session. Of course, we are at the end of this session after the match, after a bit of networking. Again, I want to thank both teams for your match because it was a very, very good, of course, content, and knowing that as well, your specialty is not environmental law. You had or you will have a bit of environmental law very soon. For this match, again, there are three judges. The three judges will be assessing the match within the next 2 working days. So it means you can expect around the end of this week the result. It counts, of course, for the group phase. The 2 best teams of this group, where there is as well the University of Birmingham, will be going to the 8th of finals. So the first place of this group will meet the second place of another group, and the second place of this group will meet the first place from another group. But this we'll know, of course, at the end of the day 3. We are only in day 2. See, the accumulation of your results will give actually the result of the group phase. In any case, well done for this match. Of course, we keep in touch. We encourage you, of course, to watch the match of the other teams in the other groups. And we wish you the best, and we'll see each other very soon again. Many thanks in Bulgaria, and many thanks in Nepal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Have a good day, a good evening as well. Thank you.
Bye. Have a good